underground, like when I went to White Sands. So somehow that you go and then they have welcome to this underground, and then they got bowling alley and cafeterias. So they have this off planet too, because we knew they were mining on the planet, these, different, minerals and stuff. And see, the extraterrestrials, they look like us. The reason I knew they were because we weren't here. And so Tom and I would fight because we repelled each other because we didn't want to know the truth. I can't explain it. It took us 5 years before we ever got married. We were always fighting because we had ships we could talk to. We had people we could talk to. We'd have missing time. We'd be off planet. We'd be on planet. We'd go to sleep, and then it'd be like we were in another dimension. And you're supposed to try to study Solomon so you don't go crazy, and you learn magic because it's real, but it's interdimensional. And it's like they're studying your brain, and they're putting you in metal cases or Faraday cages, and you're doing ESP, and they're having you talk to aliens, and you're going to Area 51, and he and I would go out on of course, Janet Airlines. I put that as a clue into today's. Janet, I put that in my thing. I didn't know we were going to discuss this, but Janet Airlines, one of the CIA guys. Why did they call it
Janet Airlines?
It was the wife or girlfriend.
Janet Airlines.
It was the wife or girlfriend when the guy had to go out and go into Area 51, because remember it was a salt play. It was just a place where they were going to test the planes in the beginning. But after they did take some of the ships there, they made the underground stuff. But the guy that had he had to have the CIA security. The security guy's wife or girlfriend was named Janet, so that's why. So they called it that. He was in charge of security for the intelligence community, to go back and forth for the, whoever was working out there. There's a whole bunch of people. That's where that Rick Doty was sitting at one of those. Rick Doty, remember? Because you can't figure out why I won't give up on him, because he's part of the. He was just doing his job. But there's a whole bunch of names that, I met.
Hey,
I
want to get back on, because we're all over the place.
Okay.
We're all over the place right now. I want to ask a question.
Well, we haven't even got to the aliens yet.
We only have 10 minutes
We may have to do that next time.
I know. Well,
right.
I'm going to go. We're going to do some more. But I want to get you on the aliens. So you're up on this ship. There's 5 ships outside of a wormhole or whatever that is. And you're up there with Tom in your book. That's what you said in your book, and it's all hidden in with all this other bullcrap, but you can find it if you're looking for the needle in the haystack. And you describe how you were. So they created, what they do, Karen, is they create a nice environment wherever you go. So I had an ex-boyfriend who was under Crystal City in Washington, and they have malls, and they have McDonald's, and they have everything that you would have above. Underground. So people who go there are comfortable. Well, they have the same things on board ship. But they can make whatever you want because it's kind of like Star Trek, right? So they can make you a hamburger and it tastes like the one you get from McDonald's or the one you get from, Jack in the Box. They can have the exact
0 point energy. You can have anything.
That's amazing. Yeah. Anything. So they have unlimited energy. So TJ, let me tell this story, then you can. TJ she arrives in her quarters. I wish I had the book, and there's a closet full of clothes that fit her perfectly, just like she would have had if she would have bought them. It's decorated like
how they do that.
They know your mind, and they can. Well, we can imagine how they do it, but they know your mind, and they. Yeah. Now I've seen this happen. I've been in a meeting with 100,000. Individuals that were no two of the same species. So there's at least 100,000 races, but they said there's So for that meeting, we made an amphitheater which would rise up very high, and
I sent you one.
People that were talking.
Remember?
Let me finish. As the people that were in the amphitheater, the different species would ask a question. Their face would be highlighted, but their avatar would project down to who was talking on the floor. So I was down on the floor, and I was reporting what it was like to be 21st century human, female, whatever, in my society, State of the Union address, what it's like. And so somebody asked me a question, and so that person stood before me. But they could be in real life 12 feet tall, but we were the same height, so we could see eye to eye. That's what you do in Tantra. In Tantra, you look in each other's eyes, and when you look in each other's eyes, you see all the way to creation. So there's total authenticity, total transparency. There cannot be a lie because you are at that moment like a Vulcan mind meld, oneness. So we're looking at each other, and the question answer being conveyed. Everybody in the amphitheater hears the answer in their own language, and they understand it, or whatever it is. It's all concepts and telepathic. But the main point I'm saying is we all co-created, all 100,000 beings, that theater for that experience. And once we left, it was gone. So there was no need to have cities or things. Those things could be manifested in an instant and gone once you left. And that's what they did. They created whatever TJ needed to see. And so when you went up, it would be in your military, Navy, let's say. But when Tom went up, the whole ship was Army.
He liked the Army,
all of them had the different rankings. He liked the Army. TJ liked the Navy, so everybody was showing up in Navy uniforms. And, yes, so.
It's weird.
We have about,
they have the
9
ability
minutes
to do that.
Well, the spacecraft down that they bring down here, some of it would help if they would have let us talk to the right people. But they put these dumbass people that have degrees that only know what they know out of a book, and they can't think creative for themselves anymore. So they resent people that don't have their level PhD. So, and then Tom, they had security underground in the tapes that Reagan wanted to know about, President Reagan, and those suckers deleted them because they didn't want to lose their. They wanted to retire. So I learned a lot that you can trust people, but you can't because it depends on the personality. I learned a lot.
You're not making sense.
Huh?
What? This is a new story.
In the secret program.
What tapes did they delete?
The
Who
tapes
surveyed
of
deleted them?
Going on the Gus, going on the ships because they weren't supposed to have them. Number one, but of course they have the Army. Some of the people that work underground, they're the military, Army people, or Air Force. The guy that was in charge of all the security, because he didn't. Tom, I'll just tell you, screw it. I don't know if y'all are ready for this shit, but I'm just going to say it. They made a naked his daughter. They made his daughter. They made like AI. You know how we're doing people now, but back in the 80s, they made an AI person walk off naked, and it was his daughter. And so he pissed all over himself. But anyway, it was really a bad scene because he was in charge of the underground.
So
where
Tom
the
has a daughter.
No, not Tom. The general, the guy you were
daughter,
asking who deleted the tapes. The man that was in charge of all that stuff that the government and the Pentagon and all those people that don't know. Remember when Strom Thurmond, when it was involved in this, and him and Philip Corso, remember? And they asked me.
Topic. Yeah.
Well, anyway, it was the guys like them. They're in uniform. There are people that are real humans on the planet. Gus made the AI walk off onto the ramp off of the spacecraft, and it was this guy that was in charge of the mountain, so to speak. His daughter, and he couldn't tell the difference, and he pissed all over himself. But they deleted the files.
Let me see if I get what you're saying. Okay, you're saying when you were in the ship of God, you were in Gus, which is the Roswell craft. The ship read the general's mind and made a avatar of his daughter, and then the daughter walked off the ship, and he saw his daughter.
Yeah, but I can't admit or deny what you just said about him reading the mind. It's how you put it together in your mind. That's your perception. But
how would they get the
because
image
they can
of his
see
daughter
everything
when they didn't have it?
They're pure energy.
Okay,
they
so
can
they got
see
the
everything.
Image of the daughter somehow. Somehow they got the image of his daughter. They could have got your daughter, but they got his daughter because they wanted to affect him. So he would shit his pants, basically, and go, wow.
So the AI walks off the ship and onto the ramp naked, and all the technicians in the white, they had the, picture it like it was like the mountain, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Groups of those people freaked out, and it was a real bad scene because he knew it was his daughter, but they didn't. But anyway, it's all gone. It doesn't matter. The whole scene is deleted from reality, in this reality, because it was underground, and the Army doesn't know it even happened unless all those people were sworn to secrecy, or they'd kill their next of kin, or they were from Germany, or all these countries, the people are sworn to, will kill your family if you talk about it. So they just never talk about it. They're all under orders, So what they did with me is I can't tell.
Gus came alive? Was this that episode when Gus came alive? The first time they got to activate?
Yeah, during that first 2.5 months or 6 months, when we went to Texas, remember? We did go to Texas, but you know how you're saying, I'm telling you my story, but you add all those little things like, the guy's mind, and I have the bare bones that I experienced, and then you have the fluff to put it together so your mind can make a story out of it. So that's what Tom and I were doing all the time with each other. He would say his story, I'd say mine, and we'd try to piece it together. So I think that's why Karen came along, because remember, I told you how much you and I have been working together so long, you almost need a third-party mediator. But Preston Nichols, she knew about him, and Preston, I was wanting Preston to help us because he knew about he knew some stuff because of Brookhaven and because of the sound waves and because he was using that vibra sound. Remember what I told you that they used, and I became a dolphin, and so now Karen does.
Let Karen talk. We're almost out.
Well,
you talk, Karen.
I just got this video.
Let Karen talk.
Back in '95, I just got this video, the old timey video that we used to get. It looked like a 5x7 book. From it was a black market video, and I don't know how he even knew who I was. And I got it in the mail, and there was a sticky note on there. It said "Enjoy!" Karen. And it was from Preston Nichols. I don't even know how he knew me. Well, now I'm sure he knew me from another level. At that time, I wasn't attuned that much to this. And then
did you know Vince?
I started trying. No,
Vince?
I started trying to. No.
What do you say?
I didn't. Who?
Peter Moon. Vince.
Oh, I
didn't. That's okay.
I'd heard the name. Yeah, I've heard the name.
Yeah.
He was with him up there, wasn't he?
He wrote the book.
I can't remember.
Peter was Scientology.
Afterwards.
Because see, I saw a picture. He sent me a picture of his house, and his whole house was computers, from ceiling to the roof. And then all of a sudden, I just set out for no reason to find out more about the Philadelphia experiment. And I literally started researching Al Bielek, and I didn't know why or how I was doing it, and came across where he lived in Marietta, Georgia. And then I found out later that Paula, when she came to get me in 2012, knew them, and we're all connected. And so I remember this woman that while I was connecting with this Philadelphia experiment that they made the movie of and everything, and this one of the Allende was his last name, had some kind of a factory or some kind of a business in Garland, and there were supposed to be some stored ET stuff from there. And so a friend of mine who was an attorney, we went out there and tried to get into stuff and be childlike with the exploration mind. And some of the lights went off. It was close to dark, and we took out. We didn't do anything. We just wanted to see where it was. And
did you
we
go
were actually
to the
probably being
building? Because
we
I've
went
been
to
there.
the building. There were lights all around it.
But do you, I mean,
and
can
I'm
you
sure they
describe it in your mind for me?